Welcome back to D Green Man Interview. This is part 6. No, this is not a review of some new part of the anime. As a matter of fact, there's no new anime left. So I kind of figured out this particular part, I would just talk about the manga. Simply put, what's been happening in the manga since, well, the kind of where the anime left off. Well, here's kind of the thing. I looked it up. Apparently, at the time of the series, at the time Hollow came back, the manga had just reached chapter number 223, and the next chapter didn't come out for at least, I think, about 5 months. And there's only been 6 chapters of the manga released since then. Excuse me. I thought they adapted the entirety of chapter 208. They actually did not. I think they adapted about halfway through. Now, what's been going on since then? Let's see. You have the character Johnny Gill, who's been one of the recurring characters of the whole series. He resigns the Black Order, and then he takes a train probably to go home. Mainly he's just go out to search for Alan, and he didn't want the Black Order to appear. And they wanted him to drink this potion that's supposed to wipe his memories of the Black Order. Seriously? This is a procedure? A memory wipe. Why does this sound so familiar? The only time I ever heard this was actually in Super Sentai, and of course this was also used in Power Rangers Time Force, the whole memory wipe thing, because they want any information about whatever. Yeah, this is a common trope you see in some other live action, never for anime. Yeah, so they want to have Johnny forget all the time he worked for the actual group, including losing his best friend to be turned into a freaking skeleton man. You want to wipe his memory of all the trauma he went through? Seriously? What is your problem? Of course, Kanda saves him, and decides to go with him and says, okay, I do not know where Alan is, but I have a plan to find him. And Kanda is basically, at this point, he had just come back from a mission. He's like, okay, I'll go with you. And they do eventually find him. Yeah, the whole search for Alan Walker is kind of over within 3 chapters. By chapter 210, poof, they find him. Disguised as a clown. Yep. And what does Alan do after this? Well, he tells him to stop searching for a little while, just so he can research the whole thing of Millennium Earl. And oh boy, the whole thing of Millennium Earl is so bizarre. It's one of the most bizarre things I've seen for a Rare to do. Apparently, it's revealed that the 14th Noah and Alan's adoptive father are brothers, but not really. It's really weird. Apparently, they're the same person. Not kidding about this. Yeah, and apparently these two formed to form the Millennium Earl. Okay, and he also investigates a woman, goes on time traveling, investigating a woman named Christine. And get this, Mana's full name his last name is not Walker, but Mana D. Campbell. And his mother is Katrina D. Campbell. Okay, what is up with a D in this family? The only series I've seen that has used the letter D as a middle name is One Piece. But at least there's actually good reason for that. At least a lot of the characters are not related to each other. And the whole point of the letter D is that they're enemies of gods. Mainly put enemies of the celestial dragons. Yeah, but in this series, there's really no reason why that these characters has the middle name letter D. There's no reason for this at all. Yeah, but the way they explain the Millennium Earl is one of the most bizarre explanations I've ever seen. It's an okay explanation. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Keisha Warren, does Lena Lee appear in this whole arc? She appears for 1 chapter. Out of 22 chapters, she appears in 1. Kanda appears in a good chunk of this particular arc, at least I'd say about half of the released chapters so far. A lot of it's focused on Alan and basically researching about the backstory of Millennium Earl. And even he's probably confused. There's even a flashback of apparently General Cross is apparently alive. Yeah, this is never totally explained. Also, Howard Link is alive, and the manga doesn't really bother to explain how in the world he's even alive. There's hints at it, but it's never thoroughly explained. It's probably due to the fact the writer keeps calling in sick. So, certain plot points not been explained yet, but the thing is only 22 chapters in. But this arc has been going on now for 7 years. 7 years. And they've only released 22 chapters. You're probably thinking, 7 years. Okay, it means if it was published weekly, you could have a good, I'd say about almost 350 chapters. Or if it was monthly, it could be a good, I'd say about 80 chapters. Nope, it's only 22. Not kidding. Yeah, and also during this arc, we also have the longest hiatus of the entire series because there are hiatuses. And when they had this last one hiatus, this one was basically for 2.5 years. Yes, it was at this point that the manga switched from monthly to quarterly. And the last chapter came out 3 months ago. That's when chapter 229 came out. Also, Quarry is actually, at least in about 3 chapters, he's in there at the beginning. He's not seen for a good chunk of it, and then he shows up in the last 2 chapters. At least in the last chapter, I kind of, because I read it, it's the third time I read it, I thought he appeared for one page. This one he appears for a good, like 3 or 4 pages. General Taito shows up completely out of nowhere. Yeah, as for how he found Alan, never thoroughly explained, but they hide out in his covered wagon. Also, I should point out though, Tim Campy is killed in this arc. Yes, Tim Campy is killed by being held down and stabbed with a stake, like he's a freaking vampire. I don't know why they killed off Tim Campy for. As far as I know, there's been no real reason why. It's one of the most weirdest things. It's the most consistent thing you think of when you think of D. Gray Man, and it comes to Alan Walker, is Tim Campy. And of course, Tim Campy being now he's basically, his reins are in a jar. And I think that killing him off was probably a bad idea for the writer to do. But I'm not the writer of the D. Gray Man manga. I'm just a reviewer. Simple as that. I gotta say, for this particular arc, it's a pretty interesting arc so far, and it just mostly just people like the Black Order just looking for Alan Walker because what happened to the events of the last arc. Yeah, when he escaped from a prison cell because they're afraid of his transformations. Like, when I first heard that, and of course I see it in the anime, I'm like, man, am I experienced deja vu. This is the 3rd series I've seen us in where a group that the main character works for apparently doesn't like what he's turning into. Apparently there's like something about him, like some kind of thing he's turning into. Like in Yu Hakusho, when the main character turned into a demon in Bushido Ruken. Yeah, that same thing happened here as well, where he turned into a thing called Victor. Yeah, Victor 3. Him with dark skin. And they were going to try to kill him. Same thing in Yu Hakusho. Same exact thing. They were going to kill the main character just because he has demon ancestry. Wow. And some people for these particular groups are complete buffoons. At least Captain Bravo in Bushido Ruken actually admitted to him that he had to kill him under orders. He had no choice but to do it. The other guy just did because, well, they're blinded by orders. Captain Bravo seems like he's questioning, but he has no choice in the matter. This one, they're not going to kill him. That's one thing I'm glad they decided not to do. They decided to throw him in jail. Wow. Just because he can have the ability to transform into a Noah. Yeah, the people who created the Akuma. Technically, that's not true. It's a Millennium Earl who turns people into Akuma, not the Noah clan. They have nothing to do with the creation of the Akuma. Yeah, it's all the Millennium Earl. I'm like, do the people who run the Black Order are complete buffoons think all Noah can turn people into Akuma? Yes, it's the freaking Millennium Earl who has this ability. Oh, and his look that he had in Hollow. Yeah, I kind of forgot that this was actually his look in the manga at that point. So, I don't fault the anime for that. I do fault them for changing people's way their faces are slightly altered. Yeah, it's really weird. It's odd though that Lena Lee is not in this arc very much, especially since if you look at the series prior to this particular arc, she was in a good chunk of the arcs, especially in the anime where she appeared in almost every single episode of the entire series. Here, she barely appears in this arc, appears for One chapter for about a few pages, and that's it. At least Quarry manages to appear. If you want to think of one character who hasn't been in this arc yet, it's Miranda. She's been absent from this arc. As far as I know, there's been no explained reason for this. I mean, yeah, it's a search for Alan Walker, and I know she's kind of pressed, but could she at least go out and actually try to find him? Oh, yeah, and by the way, Levy and Bookman are still with the Noah clan. They have not been rescued yet. Those of you curious about that, yeah, they're still held captive. Oh, and have they physically appeared in this arc? Not really, no. Yeah, for some reason they're still with Noah clan. That's not been explained. I'm like, could you at least send somebody to rescue Levy and Bookman? As far as I know, this has not been considered because they spent all their focus looking for Alan. I'm like, wow. People who run the Black Order got television looking for one person instead of also looking for people who actually are allies of the Black Order. Yes, the way the writer writes the leaders of the Black Order, they're all complete buffoons. And of course, writes the Pope like he's like Captain Yamamoto from Bleach, where he makes irrational decisions, and the fact he couldn't listen to actual plausible evidence. He ignores credible evidence because he's an idiot. I highly doubt the Pope in real life is as much of an idiot as this guy is. That's probably the way that the writer wrote him, the complete idiot. Also, the director guy, does he appear in this arc? Yes, he kind of does, but he doesn't do anything. Yeah, the guy who appeared in the Invasion of Black Order arc, yeah, he doesn't play a role in here. He does show up. He doesn't do anything. I mean, Quarry does more in this arc than anybody else of the entire series, of this entire arc. I mean, a lot of characters. Kamui is nowhere to be seen in this arc. The European branch headquarters is never seen. I mean, there's no cutback to it at all. It's mostly focused on what Alan's up to. We see a little bit of Quarry and some backstory involving the Millennium Earl, and that's it. That's all that really happens in this arc so far, and it's kind of a shame that we have to wait every 3 months to figure out what happens next. Heck, there's even a chapter in this arc that's 7 pages. Yeah, 7 pages. And chapter is also 41 pages. Yes, the longest chapter in the entire series. Now, you could adapt this into an anime. You could. But the best you can probably do at this point is just do probably about 23 episodes and probably split the one chapter that's actually 41 pages. You could split that in half and just have a good 23 episode series. Maybe even 22 because one chapter is actually 27 pages. But my personal guess is they're probably going to wait. But my opinion about the manga at this point, now I do enjoy the manga, I really do. The anime is fantastic when it comes to D Gray Man. The manga, on the other hand, the current arc, it's not terrible. It's just taking its sweet time coming out because the writer keeps calling sick. Well, that's not the only reason. Another reason is because it comes out quarterly. I'm like, can we switch to monthly? So we have to wait 3 months and practically almost forget what happens in the last chapter. That's what kind of feels like. Yeah. Though I'm not personally blaming the writer for this stupid stuff because it's not exactly of her own personal volition doing this, with all these delays. It's because she keeps getting sick. I don't know what's causing her to be sick. I'm not sure what she has. I mean, she's one of 2 writers I can think of who actually put series on hiatus because of health issues. The other writer I can think of does is Tagashi. But in the case of something like Bleach, which was written by Kubo, as far as I know, he only been in the book on hiatus once. That was like a month. Yeah, but he resumed it like right after that, despite the fact the guy was suffering from a torn rotator cuff. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I think that the writer could do is hire another artist to help her get this book out on time. And maybe have the artist also help her write the stuff, make some sense. Like, if I would choose like an artist who can work with her, like to help get this manga on time, I would choose Kelly Jones because his artwork is heavily inspired by hers. So it could work. I could definitely see. I don't know if he's actually a fan of D. Gray Man, but I have heard that he actually takes inspiration from her artwork in his own, which is great. The fact that that her artwork is influenced through at least 2 no American comic artists, Kelly Jones, and Chris Bachalo. But Chris Bachalo's artwork is so bizarre. At least Kelly Jones, I think it's bizarre, but it's actually good bizarre. In the case of Chris Bachalo, it's weird bizarre. Of course, the most recent chapter ends basically where Kanda, I think it was Kana, Johnny, General Title, and Alan are in the covered wagon, and then somehow Alan, who has still access to the Ark, decides to transport him and Kanda to some place because they're being taken someplace, and we have to wait 3 months for what happens next. Now, I think next chapter will come out this month, providing the fact it does, because apparently it's been several years since we have a chapter come out in the month of October. So I would not be surprised if somehow next chapter comes out probably later on this week or next week. It all depends exactly when the writer releases it. Yeah, but why in a quarterly magazine? I mean, if you suffer health problems, fine. Put out a monthly schedule. Or have somebody help you with the manga to get out more on time and keep your fan base interested. Because here's kind of the thing when it comes to the series. I've never heard anybody talk about The Gray Man at all. I reckon my friend Edgar, he had never heard of this anime before. Never have. And I'm not all that surprised because I highly doubt he's heard of every single anime on the planet. I've asked him about a couple of different anime, see if he's heard of them. He's never actually heard of them. The first time I heard of Gintama was actually somebody on Facebook bringing it up like, is Gintama good? So I checked it out and I loved it. In the case of The Gray Man, I think I did hear a couple rumblings. But here's also something weird though. I've never seen anybody post any pictures from the series on Facebook at all. And I don't know if Todd Herbicore ever talks about the series. I never got a chance to talk about it because, well, I had a chance to watch the anime prior to meeting him at MegaCon Tampa last month. So next time I see him, I'll definitely talk about The Gray Man and see how he feels about the series. Yeah. Not much else to say. It's an okay arc, but I kind of wish something a little bit more would happen. I mean, it's interesting, though, that the writer is delving into the Millie Merle's backstory and probably his other abilities, though still hasn't explained what the heck happened to his Tonki umbrella. Yeah, the one with the pumpkin head. Alright, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned in a couple hours for my review, for a review of Black Clover. You'll find out what it is. It'll be the anime, definitely, but it'll be just one arc, not two as I thought it would be, but I kind of want to get another video out today, okay? But to see you next review. Bye.